Horns Up Throwers, Joe Shifton here for Horns Up Rocks, and I got Mr. Jeremy Wagner on the phone. Welcome, brother.
Hey, thanks, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here.
Man, I'm very excited about your book coming out, man. The Armageddon Chord is something that every musician out there has heard of. So, why don't you, for those maybe who are not aware of this concept, or as because maybe they don't play music, why don't we get a little bit into what is the Armageddon Chord?
The Armageddon Chord in my novel is the final chord that's played from this ancient and evil song that was written in hieroglyphics that's transcribed thousands of years later by this guitar player who's duped into making the song reality, making it a song that the world will hear. And specifically, the Armageddon Chord is the last, ultra brutal power chord that this guitar player hits, and that's the final stroke that becomes the key to unleashing the apocalypse upon the earth.
And let me ask you something. How did you become familiar with this Armageddon Chord?
Basically, I had this idea when I was in the band Broken Hope. The seed of the story started back in the 90s with Broken Hope. Every album that we did, we were always trying to get heavier and more brutal with each album. And I got this idea of, wow, what if a guitarist wrote like the heaviest guitar chord ever heard, like a guitar chord that was so freaking heavy with, the most powerful low-end tuning and played at, the highest volume you could imagine. Would it cause cities to quake? Could it cause tsunamis? Could it cause the San Andreas Fault to crack and cause earthquakes, that type of thing. So it was just sort of a crazy idea at first, and then as time went on, I thought more and more about the concept, and it got a little bit more technical as far as becoming a real compelling story with a few different main characters' points of view, and then a premise of, well, instead of playing a real heavy, massive death metal power chord that makes the earth tremble, what if there was a song that was actually an entity unto itself, a song that possessed power that could actually be a key to unleashing hell on earth, say. And we all know, there's so many different forms of music, and music itself is powerful. It puts people in all kinds of different moods, whether it's happy, sad, super aggressive. It's a release. So that's sort of the premise of what I ended up with the final draft of the Armageddon Chord, making a complex story with really strong characters and an over the top idea, that used music specifically played through a guitar that could basically cause all this, almost, I guess you'd call it biblical catastrophes, if you will.
Right. That's obviously a theme that is very much related with heavy music, as you were just saying, because it is aggressive music and everybody always wants something more extreme and heavier and stronger. And of course, if we go back in time, I know you've been more active as far as like publishing songs and writing songs, but as far as like touring and all that, you kind of put that aside for a little bit. But let me ask you something. Were you writing before you started, were you writing novels before you started writing music, or it just kind of like started happening hand in hand when you were like off the road, you started writing, to like keep yourself busy?
My evolution went like this, Joe. When I was a young kid, I started actually writing fiction as far as stories that I created, and dark poetry, if you will, scary monster stories. That all started when I was like 6 or 7, and I continued writing these little short pieces of the, scary dark fiction. And then as I got older, the short stories became more serious. And when I was a teenager, I started playing guitar seriously right around age 16. Then I started writing lyrics, and I really wrote tons of lyrics. And eventually, in high school, I formed the band Broken Hope. So by the age of 18, I was writing lyrics full time, but also, Joe, at the same time, I was still writing my short stories on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So the two worlds of music and writing fiction coexisted side by side. You could say that the writing of fiction came before music, and then in turn, the music necessitated my fiction writing, because in Broken Hope, our singer didn't really write lyrics at all. He was more content to just take what I wrote and make it fit within the framework of the music, but he just didn't possess the drive or interest in writing lyrics, whereas I was really gung-ho about writing lyrics. I'd written lyrics before I even formed a band. And, of course, as I mentioned, I continued to write short stories. So for me, it was always enjoyable and just something that came naturally. And then after Broken Hope split up, right around the year 2000, I really focused more on writing fiction primarily. And that's when I started writing novels. The Armageddon Chord is not the first novel that I've written. I wrote another one before that was sort of my starter novel, and it was really long, and it was really, really messy, and at the time I just didn't possess the skills and control of the craft of writing fiction that I do now. But it's like with anything, you got to start somewhere, and it was sort of like my demo tape, but now the Armageddon Chord's like my first album. And since the Armageddon Chord, I've written 2 new novels that should be coming out over the next 2 years. So to your point, the coexistence of writing and music has always been there since I started playing guitar. But as I've grown older, also kind of to your point, is definitely being a novelist is definitely primarily what I do versus touring or writing albums. That's sort of taking a back seat a little bit. But I still jam, and I'm still writing a new album right now.
And when can people expect your new album?
I'm hoping sometime before the end of this year. I had formed a band in 2006 called Lupara that put out 1 album and an MTV video that was on Headbangers Ball. And since then, we've done some late touring over the last, 3 years, I guess, and we've continued trying to write stuff. We have 5 solid songs right now, and we still have to write probably another 5 to 6 to make an album's worth of material. So sometime this summer, I anticipate we'll have the album written, and we should record, probably, I'm hoping late summer, somewhere in there. And if the album's not out by the end of the year, it'll certainly be out, I hope, by the first quarter of next year.
Very, very cool, Jeremy. I want to wish you the best of luck with your new novel called The Armageddon Chord. It's coming out on August 22nd, and everybody out there listening, highly recommend it. Jeremy /Wagner.com is your website, right?
Yes, Jeremy-Wagner.com is my official website. And actually, Joe, since I got you on the line, today, about, 60 minutes ago, the official website for the novel, The Armageddon Chord, was just posted and is live now. And that's theArmageddonChord.com. And if your fans are out there, I urge you to check it out. It looks really cool. And actually, the theme music on the website was written and recorded by me, so that's the newest thing I've recorded.
Very cool. Definitely post all the links for them out there. Jeremy, I want to thank you for your time and for all the years of dedication. And, you know, you're one of those guys who is thinking outside the box. When some musicians out there might be like, oh, really? There's no money in music? Because, let's face it, it is hard times. I like how you are reinventing yourself, you know, through your different, you know, endeavors. And I think that will inspire, you know, young kids that might think, oh, there's only music, but they got to understand that it's an art. And if you have a talent, whether it's writing, whether it's picking up an instrument, whether it's drawing, go ahead and do it. I think that's the message that you're trying to convey.
Joe, you nailed it on the head. That's exactly what I like to tell young people to do, whether it's music or any other passion that you have. If it's something you really love, definitely dive into it, and don't look back. Don't listen to naysayers, because you can do anything in life, you know, and I'm living proof. And I love that incentive of, you know, just telling kids or anyone in general, don't give up on your dreams, just work at it, man. You know, things don't always come easy or fall in your lap, but I believe if you work hard enough, you have that drive and you're passionate, you can do anything, you know?
That's right, Jeremy. I want to wish you a splendid day and the best of luck again with your book that's coming out on August 22nd, and it is called The Armageddon Chord. Mr. Jeremy Wagner, take care, my friend.
Thanks, Joe. You rule, man. Appreciate it.